Please.
I call this Board of Selectmen meeting to order for Monday, August 30th, 2021. Roll call. Jake Thompson, Eric Gasparini, myself,
Pam.
Pam, Andy Dorr, Town Manager, Elizabeth Bunker, Deputy Town Clerk, taking minutes. Are there any updates to the agenda?
Negative instructions.
Then I move we approve the agenda as presented.
Second.
Seconded by Jake Thompson. All those in favor? 3, the minutes, approve the minutes from the August 18th, 2021 meeting. Does anyone have any questions, changes?
I wasn't here, so I'm not.
So
Jake
moved.
abstains.
So moved, except for minutes.
Second. Moved and seconded. All those in favor?
Jake's abstention.
Jake abstained, yes. Number 4, approve and sign treasurer's warrant number 9. So
So
moved.
moved. Second.
Seconded by Eric. All those in favor?
You want to see it, Jake?
What?
The warrant.
I trust you. Number 5, communications, HIF New York Times research article.
Bo Hoppin, director for the Hurricane Island Foundation, had shared this article for the board to review.
I had actually read this before you sent it.
Did you?
Yeah,
Sharing that.
it is interesting. But
We haven't had any applications for scalp funding yet, have we?
I thought
Oh,
Hurricane
no,
Island
I
was-
heard-
Hurricane, besides
that,
Hurricane.
that
Island.
woman, that girl, what's her name in here? Is she the one that was here at our meeting?
Easy.
Phoebe.
What she was just doing, she is doing,
They have, yeah,
They have
they've got
started.
it going on up there,
Okay.
along with some help lines.
because I was gonna say we've got,
So they have a
Kelp.
float with a bunch of different stuff hanging off of those, right?
we're good. Seeing no other communications, we'll move on to number 6, speakers from the floor.
Oh.
There are none present. Are there any online?
We're just screening,
There's no, okay, all right. Then we'll move on to number 7. Committee and department reports, appointments. 7A, Board of Appeals resignation.
Gwyneth has submitted, Gwyneth Harvey has submitted an email to me, and that she resigned at this point.
All right.
Something that we accept.
I move we accept the resignation.
Second. Any discussion? All those in favor?
How many does that leave us with? 3, 4?
We're at
Two.
4 still. Was appointed, Jeff Aronson was appointed at the last meeting, I believe. it
Right,
was.
yeah.
So we're at 5, we're back to 4.
7B, Road Commissioner report.
They're different while they're still without internet, both buildings at this point. The new garage apparently didn't have the conduit run through the building, it just ran to the building. So the phone company was not, doesn't finish that, and so Dan told that it's supposed to be finished, I think, tomorrow. Then they can run the line.
Was that a Sheridan thing?
It should have been probably part of included in the work plans for.
We will eventually there'll be a bump.
Right.
Once they get that up and running, they can get the computer going again.
There was a beaver dam at Fallen College.
No,
Oh, yeah, they're busy beavers.
I didn't even know we had beavers out here.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
they've had, they create quite a,
They have fun,
Mess up
they've
there,
had
fall
fun up there
down.
for a long
Well,
time.
they were blocking the culvert, the outfall from the pond there that went into the road, and it was causing an issue, and so I think the crew had to go up there last spring, I think it was. I don't know, a couple times a week at one point to keep clearing it.
They're fine, but I put them-
TNT, like Bugs Bunny.
Yeah, Looney Tunes showed us all sorts of great ones.
Any other questions on the road commissioner's report?
oh, just one. What, do you know what the signs were, Andy?
You know,
I'm only asking because I'm waiting for a couple for the Parks Commission.
It might be sitting in the office. There's some signs in the office. I'm not sure if they put that or not.
I know I just want to save it for report of town of members, and you want me to discuss it now.
If you want.
Okay, no, I just had told Nick to let me know when they came in and I would show him where they are supposed to go.
Okay.
And if they are here, he can just give me a call.
Sure.
I'll be away a couple of days, but he can still call me at the end of the week. They're going up on Amber stuff.
I saw some people there trimming the other day.
Mhm.
They're just volunteers.
The people from Bowdoin, students from Bowdoin came
Anderson,
out.
okay.
Actually did a bunch of work for the Parks Commission.
Yeah.
It was very generous. I haven't gotten an update on it, but just a little bit about Amherst, yeah.
All right, we'll move on to 7B, 7C, engineer report.
I imagine it was I read something about paving, like for the where the trucks
Salt
go
shed
in.
in the
and-
garage
Yeah, it's
apron,
on
right?
here.
Yeah.
It's like halfway down. Continue prep.
It's just-
preparing
just-
class.
It's just a little apron, it's not.
Well, probably under the whole salt shed, right, inside.
The
there,
whole
not-
salt shed base. needs it, yeah.
Yeah, okay, yeah, well, yeah,
And
I
then
mean,
the apron would be, I think we're gonna try and put one along the edge of the salt shed just for drainage purposes, because water comes off and just kind of goes right through. And then if we can, if there's enough to put some up by the truck bays, in the
Mhm.
garage.
yeah, They'll run
It's just a
out.
gravel lip that goes to it, so we thought with the water coming, kind of falling off of there would help. preserve some of
This is
that.
all part of the original budget there, right?
Yep. Yeah, that was all factored in.
Oh, okay, good.
that was my.
Yeah.
Go.
You start talking about paving things out here, it's.
Yeah, I mean, if you can get by with bringing the stuff on the ferry boat, you know, if you have to bring one barge load, I think, I can't remember how many trucks I thought it would take for the base of that, but I don't think it was terrible, too many.
Okay.
Once they were thinking 3 to 5
Truckloads or barge loads.
trucks.
So,
So I mean, that would be, you know, one barge load, and if we can get a couple more on the ferry that day, then done in one day. Mobilization on either end of it.
Any other questions? All right, move on to 8, new business, 8A, old fire hall building use.
Had a request from the Kinder Music Program. Something I was kind of putting feelers out there to see if there would be interest, or what type of interest there might be to see, and I was gonna propose at some point when I kind of got a sense of it. Because Chris isn't there anymore, or engine press isn't there anymore, so it's just that's utilized in the space now, and it's usually twice a month. And so there is a space in town there that, you know, I know Vinalhaven players also have reached out and expressed some interest in using the space for rehearsals. This is the first one I've gotten that, you know, a formal request, I guess, to look at, and I will follow up with the players as well, but before we decide tonight, Mark had brought up a point about safety codes, you know, we're putting, you know, need to have people up there with the exit strategies. I don't know that it's an issue. I haven't heard that before from our insurance company, and they have seen the building, but just ask them if that changes, if it goes from that and single tenant lease to a group use, is that going to be an issue? If it's
Why
not,
would it be any different? I don't know.
I don't know. that it
Number
would
of,
be,
number of people at once, that'll be if. I'm spitballing right there, but that would be my guess.
That was Mark's first thing.
You know, if it's a vet and
It's
it's,
a different type of use.
you know, if it's just 3 people at once and then when the vet's doing business versus 20 kids or something. I mean, I don't know. That's not certainly not something I'm terribly concerned about.
So I'm just gonna circle back with them and make sure there isn't an issue. If there is, what we should be thinking about for others to be using the space like that. So I think, you know, not to your feelings on it, but you know, it's a space that has been used a long time for different purposes, mostly for the press, but, you know, if there's something that you're thinking of or want to see used or are okay with it used in some other way.
Why?
you know.
Well, I think it would be a good idea
Yeah.
because we're not getting any revenue out of it, right? And it
Yeah,
needs
I would
work,
agree.
maintenance and whatnot, so.
and I think something like this Kinder music program, a little biased obviously, but you know, it seems like a good idea. And if you are gonna charge a fee, it should be nominal at best, you know, it obviously has a real community value.
Yeah.
I mean,
Well,
it's-
I mean, it's heated year round anyway, right, regardless or not.
Someone turns it on. I think before, I mean,
I was
the
wondering-
tenant that was there before would only do it if he was in there, and the vet would prefer it to be on the night before, so it's warm when he gets in.
Yeah, I
But
wasn't
other than that-
sure how it worked down there.
And this
Is
is
it
only
just-
asking for 1 day a month anyway, right? So
That's what they were
it
thinking
wouldn't,
it would be.
it
Yeah.
wouldn't be,
No, it's 1 day
Large.
a week.
One
And
day
Sessions
per
go
week.
for a month,
4-week sessions.
which is like a month,
Okay, yeah,
but it's
gotcha.
just one day a week.
Okay.
Before the whole
Even still.
pandemic, she was using different places, the
Right.
library. or
Even if it's
different
just
things.
4 times a month, though, it's.
Well, you know,
She
Did
did
you have it
do
in
this,
school?
yeah, they did, what, she was doing the pre-K at the school, but I don't know how that's going.
Yeah.
I move that we approve this request from Kinder Music at, she's suggesting 40 or $50 a session, so how much to say? At $75 a month. And if there's a problem with the insurance company, then we can go from there. But they probably, she probably like an answer. So that's my motion.
I'd second that.
Yep. It's fine, fine with me.
Yeah, because she's gonna want to get people lined, get her
Yeah.
kids lined up and everything.
Wait for an insurance company to dicker over that for however long it takes them.
Is this just like during the school year? I see it's 4-week sessions.
Well, I know sometimes she has it like during the fall and then again in the, after the holidays, is it?
Okay.
I mean, it all depends, there hasn't really been much going on with all the whole. But before it was, yeah, like 4 weeks on, a couple weeks off, and another 4 weeks or something like that.
Okay.
But.
All right. Motion has been made and seconded. All those in favor?
I just remember Henry hated that.
He did.
Hated
Well,
Yeah,
to each their own.
Yeah.
he's a low raised driving boy.
It was funny. Man, I don't want to go. Please don't take me. Don't make me go.
All right,
Alrighty then.
8B, ARPA Local Fiscal Recovery Fund.
So the county had put this out earlier this month. They call it a grant application. They had a informational session with the District 3 towns last week. I kind of pushed back on the calling it a grant application. There wasn't really any metrics to understand how they were going to grading and look at applications, if you will, as they came in, and for a month's time in order, for towns to be able to really try and coordinate and regional, work together on projects to maximize what's coming into the region. And, it kind of seemed like a race to the bottom of the barrel to give us your best ideas to spend the $7 million. Oh, but we don't know how much money we're going to set aside for the grant application either. So there's a lot of more questions than there were answers at this point for the grant application. That being said, I think we should submit a bunch of different projects based on the,
So out of that 7 mil, this is what would be estimated Vinalhaven would be eligible for?
no, that's the amount of money they do to us, separately from the county funds.
Oh, I
Every-
see.
Then we
every-
can request on top of that through this grant process.
Oh, okay. I didn't understand that.
We're guaranteed minimum.
So you're gonna put in like the downtown project and
I
the High
guess.
Street
my
project, is that what you're
understanding.
talking about, or are you talking
Oh,
about
that
the
was-
harbor
yeah.
project? or-
So
The minimum we're
I'd
gonna get.
included in the packets, from a quick snap, this is what the county provided, just from the Department of Treasury. One of the appendices, it goes through a really quick scratch the surface of the different types of expenditure categories. Range from public health, supporting public health, negating economic impact. The other categories were services to impacted communities, premium pay, and infrastructure.
Well, I mean, we got stormwater and, I mean, we got a bunch of these things that we're gonna be doing, right?
Right, so the water delivery, wastewater systems, and broadband are the three infrastructure projects that would qualify. Does include stormwater. I mean, one application, if you will, I was gonna submit was trying to help support some of the downtown project. Utilizes parts of matching funds towards that. Something that they can consider. Another thought was to propose an amount that would help chip away at the sewer department's capital needs. And that study that was done a few years ago identified almost $900,000 worth of capital improvements that were going to be needed. Put something in recommending that if that works. Something around broadband. I know a lot of towns are in Mid-Coast or there's a Mid-Coast Internet Coalition group that's formed that's trying to, actually, they had already asked for $7.7 million.
The whole thing.
To begin the broadband project. You know, there was another $4-point-something million request in July from a housing group to expand housing opportunities in Mid-Coast. That's kind of what spurred the need to put something out there. And again, it's more of an opportunity for them, the commissioners, now to, based on what comes back from nonprofits, from municipalities, to see what the needs are. And then from there, they made it sound like they might.
Was the fire department or anyone gonna send in anything like for the PPE stuff that was in there? Like, I mean,
Yeah, I'd suggested something around some monies to work with the medical center for the island on
testing,
on
or,
testing
yeah,
and
any of that
and
stuff.
vaccinations and PPE.
But that should come from them, not us, or how does that work?
It can come from us in partnership with, we work there along with
But I
them.
mean, yeah, we should put in more than one request and see what happens, I guess. I mean, it's not, if it's not too strenuous, which it doesn't look like it's just this form, right, that you showed us?
Yeah.
Yeah, I
We
mean,
do tomorrow.
Yeah, do tomorrow.
you must already have some queued up that you've gotten.
Yeah, it's pretty big. Again, it really isn't a grant process where they don't have an amount of money set aside. They don't have any way to measure and really compare it. It's really just a chance for them to kind of see what the needs and projects are in the region, and then they can kind of
Go from there.
reconsider how to move forward from that.
So
This is Knox County.
I know, but you said there's a broadband task force for the county now, is that right?
In the county, there's a Mid-Coast Internet Coalition group
Okay.
that's primarily,
But they've asked for the full 7.7.
yeah.
My thing to them would be, isn't there state funding set aside specifically for broadband? You should be going after that money, and then
Yeah.
this money should be used in the county as.
Their thought was to leverage the 7.7 or whatever they could potentially get from the county funds
Or grant match.
for matching with the state's
Yeah.
resource. And that's something that some of the state agencies are talking about doing is, matching some of the funds potentially for broadband or housing or, kind of, and this is what the letter we had written to the commissioners was a month ago or so, is when you add up what all the towns in Knox County are supposed to get from the ARP Act, it's like over $5 million. And you add to the 7.7, I mean, $12 million for the region to be able to invest in any of these things.
Yeah.
If we all actually work together on it, whatever it is, whatever projects it is.
Right, if you split it between 3 projects, it could be 3 decent projects instead
Yeah.
of just these little rinky-dink ones for each town.
Right.
The other option that I was gonna propose was, they match every town's state allocation. Federal allocation, so it would double every town's amount of money they're gonna, be getting.
Yeah.
And then let the towns kind of decide how best they should spend it.
That would be probably the most fair way to do it, I guess.
And that would still leave the county with, I think, about or over $2 million worth of funds for their own needs. Building improvements or.
And it's not like they pave roads or
Right.
plow roads like some counties don't.
Right.
Different states do.
Well, that was the big discrepancy for Maine. Yeah, the counties in Maine don't work.
I mean,
quite
they
like
do the
some of other
jails
ones
and the court system, but they don't do a lot of stuff that a lot of counties do. I mean, in most states, there's county roads that the county
Right.
maintains and does everything for, but not.
Yeah.
So, yeah, you'd think that would be that way would seem only to make sense to match every town's thing, and then they could use the rest for the jails or whatever else they have,
Right.
and not ask us for so much the next couple of years.
Right,
Well, that isn't gonna happen.
Well, no, but that would make sense.
Right.
right, that would make sense.
Are there any thoughts you had, if you had a chance to look at that list just quickly on other things
I mean,
that?
I think,
I think you seem to
I
have a
mean,
pretty
you
good
have
front
you
of
have
it.
the water and the wastewater and I mean, those are all things that,
We have to do.
I mean, is that pipe on Main Street lead? That one that they're gonna replace, so that's lead.
Main?
remedy?
Cast iron.
Cast
No,
iron,
it's not
okay. I
lead.
was wondering if there was any lead pipes, because I saw that thing in here. I was like, yeah, if there is, you should put in anything that you can.
No, it's all old cast iron.
Well, I just noticed it
But
said
it
lead.
has other water infrastructure, anything drinking water, clean water, so I think anything with the sewer system would fall under that.
And
so.
the anything, yeah.
Well, certainly the water system is not, doesn't fall under the town as far as the town having to give money.
No, but if you
Right.
could get a grant from them to redo part of the wastewater or,
Oh, no, but I mean, the wastewater definitely is town related, but where the water district is its own entity, then,
But we could still ask for on behalf of them
Map of the community.
and then donate it to the water district to use it for those projects, right?
I'm not really sure.
I think there was a.
How that
mechanism-
works.
No, I think there's a, I remember it's about 150 or more pages, and it's not final yet. That was the other issue I had raised, that there's still interim final rules that there's still a chance that they might modify some of what they put in so far. 'Cause I mean, everyone that receives these funds, every entity receiving these funds is gonna have to be responsible for reporting back to the government how they spend them, and you're gonna wanna make sure that, if you're picking broadband, for example, that you're achieving the minimum speeds, and if they don't change from the interim rules to the final rules.
yeah, if they go from
Right,
25 to 100 and
If on
you,
the water
It's a
and
big
sewer,
difference.
are there income requirements that have to be met, or a certain minimum number of people reach? And so I think, that was the other thing. It's like, let's
Hopefully
just wait
they-
for these to become
I'm-
final before
right.
we know it's certain what the expectations are of the funders.
do you know when that,
It should be soon. I think the comment period closed in mid-July.
so it's 60 or 90 days after that when they publish a final
think
rule,
so,
right?
yeah.
If it's anything like the whale rules, it's always like you get 60 days to comment and they come
Mhm.
back at you with
Mhm.
another thing, another proposed thing if they change it.
And the other thing too is, that I was thinking about was housing, perhaps asking for an amount of money to put towards development of, or securing of land perhaps to be able to do housing projects in the future, whether, I'm not saying it has to be or would be on you as a board, but, is there land that
housing
could be
committee,
secured, through these funds to provide for, I don't know if that's, would necessarily fit, but I'll look at that and see if it is, but be able to provide land for housing projects to happen.
Any other questions, comments? All right, move on to 8C, transfer station project, bond resolution and reimbursement resolution.
Motion, just be very specific, I'm assuming. That's
Yes.
for,
Yeah, so these were taken when we did the last few capital projects. The first one acknowledging that the voters authorized the board to seek a bond for the transfer station project up to a certain amount. And that would give us the ability to go forward with securing the bond, be able to put out an RFP to get rates. Do that soon, but having this authorization, I think preemption is needed for us to be able to take on the next one, which will allow us to start incurring expenses for said project, so we need
The engineering.
get the engineering going. So where we haven't taken the bond proceeds yet, this second article would allow us to start expending against the bond.
I move that the resolution entitled Resolution Authorizing Issuance of $850,000 of general obligation bonds for the transfer station retaining wall and property project be approved in form presented to this meeting, and having an attested copy of said resolution be filed with the minutes of this meeting.
Second.
The only thing else that's bolded here, it says
Yeah, it says
for the Carrying Place
Bridge.
Bridge project.
Oh,
So that needs
Oh.
to be updated.
like someone, read past that.
When you were making your
That's
motion, I was
right.
reading
I
across
thought-
this, and then it said,
Yeah.
Karen-
I
and you were
thought we
reading the
had to do
top.
both separately. No?
No, we already did the Karen Place
Karen Place
Bridge.
Bridge is done.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we already
got
we
that
already
bond.
signed the,
No, that was just a typo. I got all the
You
rest of
did,
them.
I was just say, you just didn't cut and paste that one out, I guess. I'll second Eric's motion if it hasn't been seconded with just changing that one
Yes.
phrase.
right.
I don't think that's a big deal, is it?
Not with that motion. no.
Would you reread that motion, please?
Go ahead, Eric.
It's,
Is it, is that,
It's
you're
at the
going
top
with this
now.
one here, right?
No, it's
right
right
there.
there.
It's
It's
the first
just
page.
this one here?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Moved and seconded. All those in favor?
Nothing like being confused.
Wait to sign green copy or
When did you do this one?
yeah,
You did that one already?
What one?
there's two there, so that second page is.
Oh, we can do a second one. Okay, thank you.
Oh, okay, that's what I
Yeah,
was
yeah.
wondering, what was
So
going
the
on.
second one is the resolution to use taxes and bond proceeds to reimburse expenditures for transfer station retaining wall and property project.
That's your motion, I seconded.
No, I was just reading, I'm just reading it, sorry.
Oh, I thought that was a motion.
I
thought you
did
said mo-
too.
I thought you said motion.
I move that the resolution entitled Resolution to Use Taxes and Bond Proceeds to Reimburse Expenditures for Transfer Station Retaining Wall and Property Project be adopted in form presented to this meeting, and that an attested copy of said resolution be filed for the minutes of this meeting.
Second,
Moved and seconded. All those in favor?
Could have gone to law school, could have gone in the right language like that. Boy,
Yeah, that's the first year of law school.
yeah, entire year.
wait and sign both. Do you want me to sign this one? Or I guess I
Do you want to go print off a straight copy of it before we leave so we can sign it, or just the first, it's only the first page that's to be changed, right? We only have to sign, we have to sign just one copy. It's not like the
Right.
school thing where you have to sign 25 pages or whatever it is. Can we go to old business now, or is Lizzie still messing around?
I can go make it.
Well, I'll do it
Two-sided.
before they leave.
Okay. Can we go do
All
that?
right, old business 9A1. Work order 10, transfer station, final design and construction admin. Those include this packet, the same from last time.
It was the same as last time, yeah, I forgot to include them again, I got it on the screen, so for the transfer station. Includes everything from field investigation, the permitting phase, final design phase, bidding services, and construction admin services. So it kind of gets us right from the beginning to the end. It still includes public outreach or to figure out what staff, working with staff to do a final design phase, maybe sell some preliminary stuff prior to the town meeting, and at town meeting was talked about and shared, which were preliminary designs. And so still got to finalize what we want to see. The hope is that we're able to do this, get it out to bid and get it done before next summer.
So we can't have it going on from June till September.
Right.
No.
If we can't have it completed by June, then we'll have to wait till September
Right.
to do
Yeah.
it. There's no way.
There's no way. No, oh man, what a mess.
Unless you put the dumpster somewhere else and had, for those months and not have anyone driving up there, if you could put it, but that would just be too
What
difficult.
a, oh, what a mess.
So fortunately, there has been a lot of, foundation work that's been done, right? So we understand a little bit, we're already a little ahead of the game, so it's just a matter of them, bringing some more folks out, doing some more geotechnical work to understand a little bit more around that wall, deciding whether or not, we want to deal with the layout in there and redirect traffic in a different way.
Isn't that what we wanted though, when we
That's
asked for that?
all, that's what the
That's-
people voted for.
Yeah.
I know the amount was voted for to allow up to an amount that would let that happen.
right.
That's,
I think at the last selectmen's meeting, the board was generally seeming in favor of it, but I don't know if that was a final decision.
I'm still in favor of it.
Yes,
Yeah.
Okay.
Mm.
So that's all part of,
Just making sure, all the only concern we had was that the diagonal parking was facing the wrong way.
right.
in the
That was the
drawing.
only question.
that looked a little,
little sketchy
Yeah,
there.
making pretty kiddie one there.
well, I would think like most people back their trucks right up and throw the stuff and they don't
Yeah.
park their cars and then walk the stuff over like they have in the picture, so
Well,
they
yeah.
just probably don't understand the way ours work.
You should go up to the dump when I go up to the dump. You can see some pretty clever.
I usually just find a spot where I can park and then just distribute.
I
as I
usually,
need.
No,
I usually
it's
try
not.
not to go there on a Sunday because
Oh,
that's the worst day.
Yeah. You won't be able to do that anymore.
So do we have to approve that or just? I make a motion that we approve work order number 10 as presented.
Second, go ahead.
Second,
Moved and seconded. Any more discussion? All those in favor? 9A2, work order 13, public safety building truck bay assessment. So did we get the updated?
Yeah,
With
so the.
moving all 3 bays out?
So the way the work order reads, is to look at including a new exterior wall in the front of the building and adding a roof dormer. In a summary of the concept, construction costs, and a summary memo that would include the engineer's opinion of additional construction costs to expand the roof dormers to include workforce housing. So it wouldn't be designed, but it would be their opinion on whether it can happen
Okay,
and what the cost would be to do that. If they did provide me a work order for that, they're willing to just look at the engineering, the structural part of it. Is this for this work, in this work order?
Yeah.
And then that'll give us a sense of.
Can we
whether it
do it or
happen
not?
And if it can, and do want to move forward, it'd be another work order to actually design
Yeah.
the roof in the apartments.
Okay.
So this one gets us what we do need to deal with,
Immediately.
sooner, which is how do we modify that to accommodate the next truck, the replacement truck? So this is a good one to move forward on. I'm comfortable that we have the grant monies to cover the Vinyl Cove project we discussed last time, and that
Yep.
this could happen within the current engineering fees that we budgeted.
Was there any change in the cost? in that? Okay. I move we approve work order 13 as presented.
second,
Seconded. All those in favor? 9A3, work order 14, downtown improvements, field investigation and bidding services.
So at this point, we still don't know definitively whether or not we're receiving EDA award.
Oh, I thought that was,
They're still going through.
what was the one that we got? Oh, Northern
Northern
Borders.
Borders.
Okay.
So
Um,
many of them.
I was just wondering which one. Is the EDA one the one that the Congress people put in for us?
No, that's the community project funding, it used to be called earmark funding, and so that's a separate project process in of itself.
Okay.
So this is just the Economic Development Administration, I believe it is, that we put in for, it's about $1.8 million. This is kind of the big one that we're hopeful to get. We've got the matching funds for Northern Borders, the way the timing of the grants sort of lined up, we'll have to come up with the match for the Northern Borders, but we have a year to do that. So we're focused primarily on the EDA one, waiting to hear if that's gonna happen or not. But at this point, I think the Main Street projects are, gonna have to happen in some form or another. We have the cash reserve to be able to move forward. Some of the other grants that come in can help offset the A&E fees. So in an effort to make sure we can get this going sooner rather than later, so we don't lose the DOT funding, I'm recommending that consider signing this work order to get that preliminary field work going. The hope is to have a kind of a group or a team of them that come out, I think sometime in September, probably for the better part of a week, and my understanding is they would work on Main Street investigation work, Vinyl Cove work, and High Street, and presumably some of the transfer station stuff. All the same geotech folks are here, the same taco and
It would
survey
make
folks are
sense
here.
instead of having them come out 3 or 4 different times.
Right.
You
So
can
they're
get 'em
trying to mobilize that group of people, and they'd rather do it sooner rather than later. So it will take some
a
time.
lot
but-
easier to do when the weather's better than when it's.
Right.
so there's still
More daylight.
been no answer to the questions.
I make a motion that we sign work order number 14 as presented.
Second.
Any more discussion? All in favor? Number 10, report of town manager.
All right. Shared the ARPA funds update there. On the digital version, there is a link. The National League of Cities does have kind of like a spreadsheet going on their website. It's kind of a tracker, as they call it, just to kind of show what other towns and cities are using the funds for.
Was there any like majority of what it's being used for? Or every town's probably doing different stuff.
I know there's a lot of different things that are being done. I haven't actually looked to really research a lot of what others are doing yet.
I mean,
Also, the
some cities like Boston and New York must have got $1 billion on their own, or
Well,
millions of
and they've-
dollars.
and they've already gotten some of the funds. We still haven't gotten any of the funds yet. The state did launch, you might have seen on the news, the state did, I guess, hire or working with a consultant to be able to release funds to towns. So we have to go into the portal and request them. So we're set up to be able to do that at this point. And as that becomes more active and available to do that.
You have to tell them what you're using the money for when you ask for it, since it's already
It
allotted
may,
to us.
I mean, there's not a lot in there at the moment to fully see how it works, but I'm assuming it might. I mean, there's still going to be reporting on the back end. It's just not clear if we have to do it more upfront. It looks like it might be more of a reimbursement program for money spent. But I'm just still waiting to see how it all, more details come out. Just showing another example. I was somewhere down in Phippsburg not too long ago, and they had these speed, I'm talking about speed concerns in the island. They had asphalt speed tables, kind of what they tried to accomplish in Rockland there by the ferry boat on Main Street. Just all asphalt. They're not lined with brick or granite or anything, but in that rural area on that road, it was pretty narrow, probably a car and a half wide. A lot of blind curves going through a lot of driveways, and that was something they had there. I've seen it in other places. Not a temporary thing that you bolt down or have to move each season. A plow can easily get up and over it. Sometimes they'll use that type of solution to also act as a crosswalk in some places. Slows people down, gets the pedestrian up a little bit. So that was another option to just come across it, and I'd share that.
So did it really, people really have to slow down and, I mean, what, when you came to it, you went over it going,
That one in Rockland you did, or you kind of got,
that one was really,
When they first put it in, it was
yeah.
wanted to come up pretty slow.
Yeah.
yeah,
Now it's not nearly as bad. That one in the picture there that I'd seen had a sign posted at 15 over that.
yeah,
So I think with those speed tables, it's more like a 15 to 20. Speed humps are 10 to 15, and then speed bumps you don't want to go more than 5 miles an hour over. So they're all kind of for different purposes, different places.
Is this something you're thinking about for the downtown plan?
It was
or-
just just kind of sharing that. We had some of our guys in public works were researching the cost for the temporary speed bumps. Depending on how long or how big you had to get them, they were running anywhere from $500 to $600, $700 sometimes. Depending on exactly where you're getting them. This would be a pavement solution. You don't take them up each season or put them back down or worry about bolting them down.
Seems a little, I don't know, fancy for Vinalhaven.
well,
I
except
think we're
like when
making-
people come down over the hill, not Factory Hill, and you're crossing the street by the Fox Island Electric, that is
Dangerous.
scary.
Dangerous.
Yeah, that
They-
crosswalk's in a hard spot.
It's in a hard spot and people don't pay attention. They're going way faster than 20 sometimes.
This time of the year, people walking
Oh,
down the side of the road.
yeah,
So on the sidewalk, it's right next to it.
Oh, yeah. So I'm convinced that we're the only place left with sidewalks. There's no one else knows how to use them. That's the only solution that's the only solution. Novel idea.
well, how much would it cost to just try next year to just try a couple. What'd you say they
The
were?
the temporary
Or
one?
like to build it up with asphalt, how much is that gonna, did that cost?
I'd have to look, I mean, if you're doing it, whether or not we can do it with the the mix that we get, you know, with the hot box and being able to do it in lifts with our compactor. That might, for what it is, it might not mean, I'm not talking about doing it across 4 lanes.
But you could, but they have the temporary humps, speed humps,
Those temporary ones,
versus
yeah,
bumps.
right.
so we could, and what did you say they were, 7 or?
Yeah, it depends. I think some of the ones to the length we would need and some of the, like full 2 lanes, I think it was like upwards of $700.
I mean, it might be interesting to try one at that crosswalk by, at the top of the hill, not Factory Hill. Try one there and, I mean, can't hurt,
No, I mean, we gotta try something next year for,
yeah,
to slow people
Even right in the middle of Main Street there.
well, do too,
Parking lot.
yeah,
down. We need to make bigger signs that say exit only.
yes,
Enter
that too,
only. 'Cause I've been down there and I've seen multiple people come in the exit. and
yeah.
They're just lucky no one else exiting at that time.
I always stop.
I don't know.
You're going the wrong way.
I don't know
What do
it
they
is, but I think
say? Oh, I can't read English?
No, actually, I don't know. I don't even think they look,
Cause like.
you know? I don't think people look.
There's a
If there
big
was,
sign
if
that
there was
says it.
arrows painted on the road too, like on, you know, on the main
Maybe
lane.
that's what we need to do.
On the main lane, when
Yeah.
you go to a stoplight, they have arrows painted on the road.
Right.
If we had an arrow painted in,
And an arrow going
maybe,
out,
and
yeah,
Exactly.
like
that
an
would
X
help.
or do
One of
not
those-
enter on the road, maybe they might
One of
see
those
that. I
spike
don't know.
strips that goes.
But I
along
mean,
one way.
That's a good idea.
A spike strip would work.
Yeah, you know, one of
Like,
those.
so you can't get into a parking garage
Yeah,
without paying.
right.
Wrong heading, but an update on the assessors, matters on tax tax exempt request. Hurricane Island Foundation, we have, Wes has submitted, or worked with the attorneys to submit a 3rd decision on tax exempt status from the 2019 application. The decision was filed the same week as they had filed an 80B appeal, which basically calling for the court to review the government, review of government action due to failure to act, saying we're taking too long again, and to request declaratory judgment from the Superior Court on the matter. At this point, the appeal's in, it's there, something, perhaps they'll roll together now that our decisions in there and it'll move along. That's as far as we can go on that at this point. The West did give that back, so let's see what the court has to say about it. Still have the 2 unfilled positions, haven't had any applications yet for the public works foreman or the ambulance director. We talked about this, I think, loosely in the budget process about the benefit package, just making sure, at least out here, that we're competitive, or are we on par with what other places like the school, the medical center, other, co-op, just to make sure that, are we not getting applications because of people that decisions aren't for them, there's no one that either wants to work, or just trying to understand how do we attract
Right,
people to the positions when they become open.
The school and medical center might not be a greatest example to compare both of those jobs. Have a little more training involved with them and more,
More
and
famous.
educate, an education that went along with it. There's a higher expectation for pay, especially at the school.
Right, I was thinking more for when it comes to the benefits offered for the employees, to understand, like, do others offer dependent coverage, contribute to dependents care for healthcare. We don't currently contribute to that. It's the retirement, do the other ones contribute to retirement packages, and ours comparable to what others on the island do? I certainly can compare and have seen what other towns are doing, and I'm just curious, are we, on the benefit side of things, are we?
The school doesn't pay any money for retirement. You can have it withheld, but the school doesn't match it. I don't, or they didn't used to 5 or 6 years
I
ago.
don't believe they match
I
it.
doubt it.
no,
No,
Their
I
match
mean,
is
there's
their
main
pension.
state retirement.
Yeah,
that
yeah,
is
yeah,
instead
you
of
have a
Social Security,
contribution
but there's
base.
no, I mean, they just take out a certain amount and then the teachers don't have to pay Social Security, but then they don't get Social Security when they retire.
yeah, they're not eligible,
But
right?
they get the pension.
Yeah. So, are there advertisements and other, like in newspapers, like the Courier?
We
and-
ran the ambulance director one before, I'll have to do it again, and we'll do the public works one as well. Outside of the local stuff, it's been on the main municipal website, in the WIN on our website. But we're gonna do another round of mainland favors.
Good.
Well, the unemployment benefits end tomorrow, right?
Oh, they do 35.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that should help out a little bit everywhere.
Oh,
Showing the road.
Other than that, there is just a couple meetings or things have to go to the offshore wind group, the fisheries work group. They have their second meeting on the 8th September. There's another one scheduled, I think, for the last week of September.
Where are those, online, or do you have to go?
I think they just tentatively held the date for right now. I can't remember if they actually have it set for online or in person. I think they were just trying to get them on the calendar at first. So it should be here something soon. I know that they were planning to do, at the very least, I think it was quarterly in person.
I thought that's what it, when you showed us the thing, it looked like it was.
It's all gonna depend too on what happens with the Delta. and everything else
Right.
going on, so.
Yeah, that'll drive a lot of it, the ability to be able to meet remotely. And they're one of their, this came up from some of the other towns and other groups that meet, when the state had allowed for the remote meeting participation, that policy we had voted on, and the allowances for when we can do remote participation. And I know a lot of people are kind of calling for it to be clarified, given geography and in the range in which people come together to meet in Maine. In this group is, for example, has got representatives anywhere, I think, from Kittery, Portland, all the way to
Probably Jones
can't remember, somewhere
Right.
over there.
Yeah.
And they expect all those from that range on the coast to be able to come together. I mean, even somewhere in the middle is still gonna be a pretty good haul for them. And then if you try and do that in the wintertime, it's just easier to just say, let's just meet remotely.
Yeah.
Some would be, so if that was something, even that Mid-Coast Economic Development Group that I'm on, like, same thing. I mean, they're trying to pull it even from the Mid-Coast area. You still got people from some of these peninsulas or us from the island. It's just more efficient and easier to meet remotely on that stuff.
absolutely.
So there's a meeting planned for that. There's a coastal resiliency planning meeting, and it's another one. So it's a group that I and Linnell are on, reviewing and trying to come up with some model land use planning options for ordinances around resiliency and coastal planning. So I've been involved in that for a couple months now. So it's another meeting of that. And the Main Island Coalition on the 17th. I think that is on vacation for a bit.
What do you have going on with the?
Biggest mistake of his life.
Oh, my gosh.
Like the rest of us.
Well,
Leave as a free man and come back as,
a hit's been put out on you.
same could be said about her.
I told that to Scott, I said, why did you do that?
But James is gonna get mad.
Oh, they're going to, I was gonna say they aren't yet. are they?
All right.
Whoa.
We'll move on to report of the members.
Probably
Number
a good
11.
idea.
Jake, we are broadcasting live here.
No one's watching it.
Yeah,
I know
like
Samantha-
it.
Samantha-
Like
You'll
anybody.
find out when you get home.
I will start. Only thing I had was with the ARPA funds. Potentially getting. What was the FEMA maps redrawn, that work that we want to have done, if that's something that can be considered, probably
The
not.
floodplain ones.
Right, yeah, get those, actually have someone look at them, and be like, yeah, these are not correct, and no one's.
What was that amount? Was it
It's
just?
like 100K for the whole island,
Right,
it was like 20 or 30 for just
the harbor,
the
right?
harbor, right?
Yeah, put in a,
I don't know if that,
I don't know if it will qualify, but I,
I think that's gonna be a hard one to, you'd have, the only thing I'm thinking is,
Climate change, must
yeah,
be something in there about that.
it's gotta be.
Can't find a grant anymore without climate change. somewhere
I mean,
in there.
remember that this is all tied to the impacts
COVID.
COVID had on us and on the economy.
Right, well, we would have been able to pay for that. if
See, wow.
Businesses didn't have to shut down. and
Yeah, you know.
We
It's
didn't,
revenue,
tourism.
it's revenue replacement.
Exactly,
There we
right.
go.
I can look, I mean, there might, and this is where it's still an interim final rules, not having a final determination on that, you know, is it possible that it could be tied to impacts on
Tourism.
under section 2?
We're underwater.
Yeah,
I mean,
right.
2.13 other economic support, right? So I mean, what's included in that, you know, is that going to change from the interim proposed rules?
Then you could also, in one way, you could put it under housing too, because it affects people who are in the flood zone.
Well, I mean, for us, it directly impacts the
property
economy
value.
because it's all of the downtown properties, like the
Right.
restaurants have to have such high insurance that.
It makes it harder to sell them and.
Right,
on
I
and
mean,
on,
but I
so-
don't know how you could finesse that in.
Well, that's just
the-
it, and this is my biggest thing about, one of my big things about it now, it's like, okay, if, let's run down that, what are the, you know, how would you prove that money to do that is alleviating and serving the purpose of the intent of that, right? So that's still not concrete.
Right.
I can look and see if it's possible, but it might be a bit of a stretch.
It's probably a stretch, but if they're asking you to throw a bunch of stuff against the wall and see if it sticks, why not throw it against the wall and see if it sticks?
Oh, yeah. What's you can say is
Yeah,
no.
as long as it doesn't
I mean,
impede
if
the,
you would think there could be some other towns in Knox County that want there, that could be like a whole area wide thing. Maybe,
Yeah.
you know, maybe, I don't know,
I mean,
who knows?
if all downtowns and, in the flood zone, why wouldn't Rockland be in the flood zone?
I'm
Right?
sure there's a lot of places in the flood zone that probably shouldn't be,
Exactly.
but I don't know how you would.
Did you have something?
I have a couple of small things I was gonna defer
I'm-
to you.
Oh, okay.
And I was gonna.
I
forget.
don't know
set.
if Donald's done.
Nope, I'm done. Go right ahead.
I just wanted to update on the parks when you were talking, asked about, or saw people clearing. Some woman, professor, I don't know if she's a professor, but some woman that knows Peter Richards brought out, asked if she could bring out these students and their first year students. And absolutely, of course, we accepted the offer, and a group went with Peter to Booths, and I haven't heard from him just to know exactly what they did, but I know they were gonna go to Booths and possibly State Beach. And then the other group went with Kay Kendrick to Amherst Hill to cut trails, clear trails and widen, whatever they were doing.
Are these like the same people that used to come out and help Bodine down on Lanes Island? I
It's a
thought that was
similar-
Bowden or one of the colleges.
It's
but-
similar, yeah, they're from Bowden, it's a similar thing, just, I don't know, I got a nice report from Kay on what they did at Amherst Hill, but I don't know what other things they did. And also, did you not get Debbie Pixley's email, did she?
Oh, I did.
About her, she wants to resign from the commission.
I did. Forgot to do that.
So we can do that the next meeting, and also, does that have to go in the wind that they open up be a place for one or two people to come on?
If there's more openings, we can probably run another ad if we want about all the openings. We'll put it in still.
Okay, because that would give one, and then I'll check with the person that's been vacant for a while and see if they want to step down. But I guess that was it for parks, but then just one more thing, did you ever happen to check on the moorings, price of small moorings for the sands?
I personally didn't. I thought I mentioned it. I'll also go back to Jim and Pete.
Thank you.
Broadband RFP, how's that coming?
Not at the moment. Don't know what to do. I haven't had a chance to do it.
All right, and how about setting up a meeting with a road consultant to just give us an idea of what roads we should
So
grind down or,
more of a report, right?
Yeah.
So it need to happen, still need to hire someone, find someone to be able to do that. At that conference I was at, I had asked a group, they had a session about paving, paving preservation. Same group that had come out to us before, Allstate Material Group. I'd asked the question in the meeting with other managers, and no one had an answer for who's out there to hire or to be hired. So I mean,
And the position must exist at some company, doesn't it, or
you
somewhere?
can hire engineers to do it.
Geez, I mean,
It's
But
expensive. but-
That's, it's gonna be a bit more than what, we're looking for. The other suggestion I'd gotten was to perhaps reach out to one of those companies, and Allstate Material I know would do it. Jerry Douglas, who was working with them before, now works for the city of Gardner. So I know I've been out with him. I'm sure on other companies, if they knew we were interested in it, would be willing to perhaps come out.
Who was it that worked with us for a paving project back in 2014? That's what that, yeah,
that
he's
was,
still in the game.
was that when the lane debacle?
No, that
No,
was
no.
a different one.
No, he came along and just kept, the paving company honest. with everything.
He inspected the work.
He's just along there with them most days, just making sure that the temperature was right.
That is something that you,
Yeah, but maybe, I don't know if he would.
does the
he
state,
might be someone to
when the
reach out
state
to.
did their paving project last year, did they have someone that did that? That
They
may-
had their own inspectors on site, and I think
Right.
we had said it, so they were actually inspecting our roads too.
Right, that's what I was
Yes.
assuming, that they have someone that would make sure they're not putting tar down when it's raining or,
Right.
Temperature's a big one.
Yeah,
Um,
when it's too cold.
In depth, if you were asking for a certain depth, that's another thing that we're taking depth measurements at certain points. We got those records.
Yeah, but I mean, if we're planning on having a big project, we should have someone to keep an eye on the people that
Oh,
we
yeah,
hire,
well,
like, if we hire. Timbro, we wouldn't want to have their person telling us that they're
No,
doing it,
yeah.
right? You'd want to have.
We're gonna have an independent party.
Right.
Right.
Not saying that we hire Timbro, I'm just.
Okay,
just
so,
making-
but we might be at a dead end though, as far as what we should do to these roads before we do pave.
I think assuming that there's a consultant easily available is.
Yeah.
That might need to go a different direction.
Because, for you have to find them, wait for them to have time to come out, and then submit the report, and then do the work, and then hopefully have it done, with some time to spare before you start paving. Because, the only reason I bring it up is, because a year away seems like a long ways away, but it
It's not.
really isn't.
Not when you're trying to line things,
No,
three
no,
things
so,
up, it's
right.
not just the paving, it's the making sure you do the right reclamation or whatever
Right,
you
yeah,
need to do
I
to make the
just-
road.
If we're gonna do a major paving project for once in Vinalhaven's history, it'd be
Yeah,
nice to
right.
see a road built properly,
Yes, Yes.
like.
so that lasts for
Well, I mean,
more than a year.
when they did the road that goes down past where the bowling alley used to be, they ripped all that stuff up and put stuff in, because that road used to be terrible. when it
Oh,
was
it's
a dirt road.
awful.
But it's
Yeah.
held up pretty good. I mean, I think
Yeah.
Billy Mills did most of the work, but I mean, whatever they did on that road was 100% better than
Yeah,
what.
right, yeah, they
what
don't just slap pavement.
Right, yeah.
They did a fair amount of that too on Water Street too, I believe.
Water Street
Right
had
down
made,
there.
had majored.
All right, but I mean, like, some of the roads out here definitely need that, and we can't just keep paving over them and then having them look like
Yeah.
they didn't even get touched 2 years later.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, to me, one of the biggest challenges is having someone be able to tell us, certainly you could just say, hey, reclaim the whole round the island, or
Right.
reclaim it
Well,
to it,
there
dig
could
down
be
8 inches.
sections
and-
that, yeah,
But I think, there's definitely sections that don't need that level of work. And if you can cut down but if you're gonna put it out to bid, someone's gonna wanna know exactly where are you telling me to do the reclaim?
Right.
Where are you telling me to do this application? Where are you
Right.
telling me to do this one? And so that's where it gets a little more complicated. But it's gonna, only way to really save us money on what we know we should be doing, if we know those sections that need that. We don't wanna just slap on
No,
2, 3, 4
right.
inches on there.
that, and that's why, hiring professionals, I don't think anyone in our crew
No.
has that skill set, and, I certainly don't, I don't think, like.
So right now, it sounds like we'd have to hire an engineer unless we can find someone.
Yeah, you
These
might be able
companies
to
that be
find,
coming out.
some of these companies, someone to come out from one of them.
With someone at Woodard and Kernan, though, having, if they can't do the work, would they know someone who?
Could they recommend someone?
Yeah.
or does Jake Barber know anyone? I mean, they just did all that work up there, I mean, he might know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Would be at the job, but you're right, the job must exist.
Someone must do it.
Before I forget, I did touch base with Rick today from North Haven. He was proposing October, the week of the 11th, to get back together with the Vinalhaven board. We're still waiting to hear back from Mr. Lewis. I'd resent the lease agreement and the letter asking for consideration for land under 2 different scenarios, and Rick had added to that with another letter, just saying yeah for that. That need to try and find that solution for the communities. He's proposing the week of the 11th. We'd like to hear back from.
We're
First
scheduled
before
to
we
meet the 12th, right?
We're meeting the 12th, yeah.
Should we just try and meet with them
Well,
remotely?
Don't they start at 5?
I think that's what that.
When,
So we could
because I was
start
a
at
little bit
5,
late that last
And
one.
then ours could start at 5 right after that.
Right, hopefully. I mean, I don't think we'd be meeting with them for more than half an hour.
I don't think so.
Yeah, that would be good if they could do that.
Fit
Yeah,
it in on the same day.
right.
Well, last time we met on their day, right?
Right.
Right.
Yeah, they're now meeting every other week, the 2nd and 4th, I think, weeks of the month on Wednesdays.
On Wednesdays.
Yeah.
Well, if they're willing to meet with us on the 12th, we appreciate it, right? I suppose. we can come back in.
We could just push our meeting to the
13th, right?
13th, I guess, if they wouldn't.
Yeah, if-
Let's do that then.
Yeah.
If they're willing to meet with us remotely, let's just push our meeting to the 13th, and we can meet with them before ours technically starts. Would that work?
I can say, the remote meeting that we had with them was difficult. I don't know what their sound issues. I mean, if we can improve, but it's almost getting to the point, maybe it'd be easier just to do it in person, even though getting to North Haven or them coming down here is
I'm not opposed to that. I'm just, that particular time period is difficult for me to get all the way up there and all of that. It's a lot of work that I have to have.
If they want to meet in person, I would have to do it the following weekend.
The remote the week of the 11th or in person.
Yeah, I mean, do we need to meet in person? Is
we
it?
don't need to. It's just
What are we gonna be discussing? Just,
We just said we'd circle back on the thoroughfare.
yeah,
But if we
Use
don't
what
get
you
any responses, then there'd be nothing to circle back to.
right, we haven't had a meeting with George Lewis and there's no. Yeah,
Yeah, then we will.
Well, why don't we wait and see if we hear
Yeah,
from
Yeah.
Mr. Lewis?
yeah.
and then we'll make a
And
decision
then
on the
make a
14th,
decision on
maybe.
what we're gonna do.
yeah,
All right.
That sounds better.
That sounds
man.
good.
yep. And we'll eventually.
I didn't have
study
anything to
minds will
report
come
on.
to a solution.
Oh, God. You guys, it's quite simple, okay.
Beautiful, beautiful minds.
Anyone else?
I make a motion and we go home.
Second that motion.
Motion to adjourn has been seconded. All those in favor? Thank you, everyone.